Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show, your beginner-friendly guide to saving in Bitcoin. $105,502 Bitcoin right now as I speak. Crazy, right? It's like, don't you wish someone would have told you 2 years ago, a year ago, I don't know. Do something as simple as just start saving into Bitcoin. Come on, people. Come on. Hope you guys are doing good. It's Monday. We're back to the grind of stacking Bitcoin daily. At least here on the show, week daily. How much money I made in 2 years of Bitcoin dollar cost averaging and HODLing. Basic, right? We're going to go over that here on the show in a bit. But first, let's get into the first segment of the show. It's titled, of course, The Bitcoin Strength. Oh, that's my page. There it is, The Bitcoin Strength. Got it. Oops. Today, the price of Bitcoin, like I said, is $105,479.92. You can buy 948 Satoshis for a single dollar. What the heck is a Satoshi? A Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like a dollar is made up of 100 cents, a Bitcoin is made up of 100 million Satoshis. If you can accumulate 100 million Satoshis, you in essence have a whole Bitcoin. Just like that. It's important. It's important to do that, guys. It's important to stack Bitcoin. Also, it's important to jump in here and smack that like button, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hitting that like. Whoever's watching right now. If you want to chat, say something, say hello in the chat. You got to be subscribed for at least 1 minute. It's not a hard barrier to make. It's pretty easy. Okay. So that said, that is the Bitcoin strength. Let's say you're walking down the street, minding your own business. You look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day that penny could be worth. Today, actually, it's going to be worth about 9.48 Satoshis, about 9 fractions of a Bitcoin. We highlight this every time because we need to help people understand that when they see the price of Bitcoin at $105,000, they might get scared and be like, dang, I can't afford $105,000 nothing. I need to save up to buy in Bitcoin, but they'd be thinking about it the wrong way. You don't need to save up to buy in Bitcoin. You save in Bitcoin, and that is where the magic happens. Whatever value you set aside into Bitcoin, it's already shielded from inflation. So you don't need a whole Bitcoin to reap the benefits of its properties, right? So you can start with as little as $1. Start with as little as $5, $10, $100, whatever you feel comfortable with. Hard HODL in the house. Round of applause from the live studio audience for Hard HODL. I don't know what's happening, Hard HODL. The viewership is going down, and it's going down hard. But we're out here trying. It's not gonna deter me from continuing to stack. And one day, we'll be able to look back at this very show and say, well, we stacked pretty hard. And hopefully we'll get to 1 Bitcoin. I got something cool to share with you guys today. I had a couple of kayaks. I had my original kayak that I bought when I first got into kayak fishing and diving off the kayak. Then I have my second kayak, which is a little slightly better. I finally sold my original kayak. I finally sold my first kayak. I sold it yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Let me check. Anyway, I sold it yesterday and immediately stacked the profits, or stacked the money that I made from the sale. I sold it for about $700, so I added a $700 stack to the reclaimed Bitcoin section of the page. So we got a little bit of bump in our holdings for the show. So we'll review that during the stack recap. But just rest assured, we actually did a little extra buying, and when I got the cash, when I had the cash in my hand, I saw the price of Bitcoin at $104,000, and I was like, damn, should I wait for it to come down or just smash buy right now? So I just I practiced what I preached. I just smash bought the $700 worth of Bitcoin. Just bought it. And like, sure enough, dude, like as soon as I bought it, that was when it first popped off to like 107. See, Sunday. It was Sunday when I sold it. So let's see. I think I sold it at, yeah. I bought the Bitcoin with the proceeds from selling the kayak around 1 or 2 p.m. because I had a meeting to meet the guy and sell him the kayak like at noon. No, at 1. And then after I sold it to him, I just went to the bank, deposited the cash, and I bought the Bitcoin, right? Anyways, I'll show you the buy. But the timing came through perfectly. Yeah, even though it's been down to 102 since then, that buy happened like maybe like an hour before we had the first little blip up to 105, and then up to 107. So it's pretty good, pretty cool. I kind of lucked out. Anyway, if it goes down a little bit more, who cares? If it goes up, who cares? All I care about is the number of satoshis that I'm holding going up. Okay, so anyway, it's a fun story to share. Let's just keep the show rocking and rolling. Next order of business. First of all, guys, do me a huge favor. If you're watching, I'm trying to get more people in here, so hit that little hearts right there, the little smiley faces, the party signs, 100%, to get that algorithm working for us instead of against us, and get more people in here to like it and watch the show. Yeah, enjoy the show, I guess. Smack the hearts up, boys. All right, so let's jump into the next topic of the show. Of course, why we stack the orange pill portion of the show. Why do we stack? Why do we save in Bitcoin? What's the point? Here's your orange pill. Oh, yeah, I put a barcode up here for donations. If you wanna add to the get to 1 Bitcoin quest for the show, that's it right there. Are you ready for your orange pill moment now? Why do we save in Bitcoin? I've been kind of doing TikToks right now. I've been doing TikToks lately, and trying to summarize everything we talk about here on the show in like small little chunks to help people try to understand it. And I am getting a lot of good feedback, a lot of good questions in TikTok, and I'm actually surprised at how much volume of people watching those videos on TikTok compared to here. 2 days ago, I was on here streaming by myself, right? And I just like, man, the reach that I get on the other platform is crazy. But I prefer doing stuff here on YouTube. I love YouTube, but you know, maybe YouTube doesn't love me. Anyway, so what I was getting at is sharing the message little by little. You know, like there's so much confusion. A lot of people don't understand Bitcoin. A lot of people don't even understand the problem that Bitcoin fixes, and that's a huge gap right there, right? There's like all these videos on TikTok, for example, where they're helping you how to like save money here, cut on groceries, like meal prep, cook everything in batches, and how to save money, how to like check your subscriptions and make sure that you're not paying for anything you're not using anymore, and like cutting your subscriptions to Netflix or Hulu or whatever, all that extra stuff, right? And yeah, that's gonna save you money. It's gonna save you a little bit of money for a little bit, right? But what if instead of just cutting those subscriptions, instead of just meal prepping and trying and not saving that difference, what if you actually saved it? What if you cut the subscription to Netflix or something, and instead of spending the $20 or the $30, or I don't even know how much it is these days, let's say it's $20. Let's say your subscription to Netflix is $20. Instead of spending $20 on Netflix every month, you cancel that subscription to Netflix and you go $20 a month into Bitcoin, right? It's gonna serve you better probably, right? It's like you're doing all this effort, not you personally, but the people here on TikTok, that you're doing all the effort to go through and save and make the sacrifice to save a little bit of money on expenses, on their lifestyle, right? Cutting corners, like trimming back, cutting back. But you and I both know that's not gonna work. It's not gonna make you that much better off if you're just saving it and keeping it in dollars. You got to take that value, exchange it for something that's more valuable than the cash itself. And when you do that, then it really starts working for you. Then it really starts growing for you, right? So, I mean, we're gonna be able to see that here in a following segment. We're gonna go into our segment where we talk about the stack here for the show, and of course, how much money I made in 2 years of just buying Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin, not doing anything else, right? I'm not trying to sell anything as far as like Bitcoin goes. I'm not trying to. I don't have to put any extra work beyond just buying it and taking custody of that Bitcoin, right? That's it. That's it. Those are the two things you gotta do: just buy it and take custody. That's it. And then Bitcoin just does its thing, right? It's just designed to appreciate against the dollar because the dollar keeps inflating and the Bitcoin is a fixed amount. Simple, just simple math, right? Simple numbers, mathematics, right? Anyway, so let's jump into, that's why we stack? Yeah, let's close out the why we stack segment with the why we stack segment message. Saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked for, as long as you hold a Bitcoin that represents those hours. Yeah, that's it. And if you have any questions about that statement or anything else I've said here on the show, please do leave it in the comments or put it in the chat. I'll let see what your questions are. Hard HODL says, number 1, self-custody. Number 2, know the rules never change. Know that the rules never change. That's right. That's right. All right, let's get into we're already at the stack recap, boys. Man, this show goes by too fast. I don't think I'm giving you guys time to get the notifications and tune in. So, we're gonna do the stack recap. Yeah, we'll do the stack recap because we're gonna have to go into the reclaimed sats spreadsheet anyway. So let's do that. Let's do the stack recap. Here we go. Stack recap, because we don't only talk about stacking Bitcoin here Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it. And here is the proof of stack, the proof of Bitcoin holdings, the proof that we're not just talking the talk. We're walking the walk. In 2025, we've saved, we've invested, we've put about $3,560 of my own money into Bitcoin and accumulated 3.9 million Satoshis, fractions of a Bitcoin. Or you can also say that we've accumulated 0.0392236 Bitcoin. If we were to go and try to buy the same amount of Bitcoin today, with today's weaker money, we would have to pay an additional 16% to buy the same amount of Bitcoin. We'd have to pay $4,134.54. I know. You might be thinking it's crazy, but that's what it is. What it is. That's some mathematics right there. That's some math right there. That's a spreadsheet. Buys are all tracked. There's videos about all these buys. I'm not on here BSing or making up numbers. You guys get to see the numbers every day that you tune in. Okay. In 2024, we tracked that year separately, like we're tracking 2025 separately today. In 2024, we saved up $7,345.47 into Bitcoin and accumulated 12.2 million Satoshis, 0.12242217 Bitcoin. And if we were to go and try to buy the same amount of Bitcoin today, it would cost us 75% more of today's weaker dollars. It would cost us $12,904. Right? So yeah, it's appreciated, guys. You know, Bitcoin is reflecting the debasement of the dollar. Okay. And for the whole lifespan of the show, since May 22nd, 2023, we're getting close to our anniversary, guys. Our 2-year anniversary is going to be on Thursday. Make sure you tune in. Invite a friend, at least for the 2-year anniversary. I want to be streaming to more than one person. What's up, Hard HODL? No offense. 2023, we started with $5, and now we are at, what are we at? We have 0.268760901 Bitcoin from our dollar cost averaging schedule. We set aside $14,369, and now that stack is currently worth $28,229. Not too bad, not too shabby. 97% gains in almost, we're pretty much going to call it 2 years. In 2 years, so yeah, that's how much money we made in 2 years. About what is it? $12,000? No, $14,000? About $14,000 so far, right? Without having to do anything extra. This is the important part, guys. This is the important part here. I didn't have to do anything extra to go from $14,000 of savings to $28,000 of savings, right? If I would have put that $14,000 into a checking account or a savings account, making me 1% interest, if you could even find that, over 2 years, $14,000 loses purchasing power, right? This is a very example. A quarter of a Bitcoin used to cost you about $14,000. Now a quarter of a Bitcoin is going to cost you about $28,000. See? So just by holding the value of that time I earned that money with in Bitcoin, it grew the purchasing power of that set aside value. So now I can not only just buy $14,000 worth of stuff, which is the original amount, but I can buy $28,000 worth of stuff instead of $14,000 worth of stuff, right? So what does that mean? You can look at that in a couple different ways. One way you can look at it is your purchasing power doubled, right? Another way you can look at it is, since you're trading your time for money at your job, I went back and gave myself a raise for the time I already traded in and I can't get back, right? Because remember that whole thing about about Bitcoin is like going back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked for, as long as you hold a Bitcoin that represents those hours. This is it right here. The proof is in the pudding right here, guys. It's right there, right? I worked for $14,000 worth of money, worth of value. I exchanged my time for that value. And then I took that value, I converted it to Bitcoin. I converted it to a quarter of a Bitcoin, basically, right? 0.26 Bitcoin. And as long as and however many hours that was, right? It took me however many hours that was. It represented $14,000. As long as I hold that Bitcoin, the same 0.26 Bitcoin, the longer I hold it, the more I got paid for the time I already invested in making those $14,000. Does that make sense? Right? It's like giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked for, as long as you hold the Bitcoin that represents those hours. That's what we say. You buy the Bitcoin, you take custody of the Bitcoin, you hold it, and that's all you got to do. Repeat. The more you can do that, the more often you can do that, the more amount you can do that, the better off you're going to be, because Bitcoin keeps going up. Yes, there's going to be days where it goes down. Fine. That's whatever. There's going to be days when it goes down. There's going to be days when it goes super high and then goes super down. But when you look at Bitcoin over its 15, 16-year lifespan, if you bought Bitcoin at any point and you mapped that point 4 years out, you're always in the black. If you go back historically and look at all the Bitcoin chart, okay? So, hey, the performance of the past is not a guarantee of the performance of the future. But why is the Bitcoin price going up? It's going up as a reflection of the weakening dollar. So if the dollar is going down in value because we're printing it out of existence and banks are continuing to issue debt and all that stuff, and the tariffs, and there's a bunch of inflation happening. Yeah, when you stop inflation, maybe the pattern will break, but inflation's not stopping, right? The money supply keeps expanding, and as long as the money supply keeps expanding, the amount of weaker money you need to buy the same amount of Bitcoin is going to continue to go up, right? Just like the prices of everything goes up, it just happens that the price of Bitcoin goes up about 55% or year over year, like on average so far, right? So it's easy peasy. Once you look at it that way and start to understand what it is, instead of telling yourself, well, I'm only going to invest 1% of my portfolio, 2% of my portfolio into Bitcoin because I'm playing it safe. Is it safe? Is it safe to have 98%, 99% of your savings in dollars or in any other asset class that is performing less than the performance of 55% or year over year that Bitcoin has? What's safer? Right? What's safer? Maybe if you're gonna just hold it for like a couple days or maybe even like a couple months, right? You catch it on one of the downturns, yeah, you might be better off holding something else or just holding the cash. If you're gonna spend it, if you need to spend it like in the next couple weeks or next couple months, right? Because yeah, you can't guarantee that it's gonna do what it's gonna do, right? But if you can hold it for longer than 4 years, if you can guarantee yourself that you're gonna save and hold that for longer than 4 years, then you're better off just being in Bitcoin, right? Even if your ultimate plan is not to hold Bitcoin forever, like it is my plan to hold Bitcoin forever. Even if your plan is just to save so that you can afford your a car, so that you can afford a down payment on a house and get into debt up to your eyeballs, you're still better off saving in Bitcoin, right? Let's imagine that I'm saving for a down payment on a house and whatever. I need to save up. I need to save up $20,000, right? If I was saving for the past 2 years for $20,000, I'm still only at $14,000 after 2 years of savings, right? But and the whole time I'm saving for this asset, if I'm saving in dollars, let's say I need to get to $20,000 for a down payment on something like a house or whatever, an apartment, I don't know. And I'm saving in cash. I'm saving in dollars. While I'm saving for that down payment, the purchasing power of my savings is going down. And at the same time, the price of the thing I'm trying to buy, like the house or the condo, whatever, is going up faster than the price is going up because of inflation, faster than I can save it, right? So as you're saving in dollars, it's becoming harder and harder to save for that thing because the price is getting away from you, right? And so you have to work extra hard just to get to a level playing field where you can start to own assets that appreciate against inflation a little bit, right? Real estate used to do that, but not anymore. Real estate is now is not even productive enough to or profitable enough to beat inflation, right? The real rate of inflation, right? So anyway, you save for whatever you're gonna save for, your house, down payment, your car, right? And you start saving the same amount of money you would put in your bank account, you put it into Bitcoin. And you tell yourself, okay, I'm not gonna touch it until it gets to 20 grand, which is what I need, right? If that were the case, we would have had that goal met already because we're in Bitcoin, right? We already surpassed the $20,000 mark with our savings, and we can do the thing we wanted to do, buy the house or down payment on the house or buy the car, whatever, right? I don't recommend you do that, but if you wanted to save for something, even if you wanted to sell Bitcoin and not keep it forever like I do, you're still better off just saving in Bitcoin, right? And there it is. So over the past 2 years, we've been saving here on the show, but we started with $5 a day, then $10 a day, and now $20 a day on weekdays. And yeah, there it is. We are up about 97% as of the price today. The price right now is $105,000 Bitcoin. It's wild. It's wild stuff. It's too easy. I think it's too easy. I think it's too easy. People are so used to jumping through hoops and doing so many things to generate a little bit of like delta, a little bit of a profit margin on things, right? Like that when you see how Bitcoin actually works, you're like, wait, all I gotta do is buy it, take custody of it, and hold it. That's it. Wait, don't have to go become a certified financial planner, stock investor extraordinaire. No, don't have to become a real estate developer / landlord that owns a ton of buildings and is renting it out, rent seeking from people. No, you don't gotta do any of that stuff. Don't have to go spend hours and hours and hours researching stocks and the bond market and keeping track of the news for global events that could affect the value of my portfolio, and where I'm gonna be in gold, oil, stocks, tech stocks, whatever, right? Don't have to spend tons of hours. Have like 20 screens up with all the charts so I know when to get in the market and when to get out. No, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do all that stuff. All you got to do, like I said, is buy the Bitcoin, take custody of that Bitcoin, and enjoy your life. Right? People are like, oh, well, what if I just trade alts to make more money so I can buy Bitcoin? Like, you're going to lose. You might hit some home runs. I'm not going to lie. You might hit some home runs. But at what expense? What did it cost you? Right? Yeah, you bought some altcoins and they pumped or whatever, but when they pumped, that value that you put in those altcoins might have been better off if it was just in Bitcoin the whole time, right? Plus, you didn't have to sit there and watch those coins and try to time the market in and out. And you have to make three perfect decisions. You have to decide when to get in, right, when it's low. You have to decide when to get out so that it's peaking and you get the max profits from that sale. And then you have to time it again perfectly so that after you sell, it goes down and you have the option to get back in at a lower price than you bought it for. So you continue the cycle, you know? What are the odds that you, an individual person, even with ChatGPT and all those other technologies we have, right? That you, an individual, is going to beat the market maker whose job it is to take money from retail investors. That's what you are. You're a retail investor. Okay. Plus all the rugs, plus all the rule changes, plus those market makers have like so much more resources, so many more even computing power, even closer access to the stock market than your server would ever have, a server that of your stockbroker would ever have, right? Like you're basically playing a game you can't win. Your market liquidity, right? You're gambling your retirement money. You're gambling your savings because that's the only way to try to beat inflation is if you actually gamble with it and make risky moves so that you can actually have gains to be able to beat the hurdle rate, which is the inflation you're experiencing every year, right? Like of 8, 9, 10% hurdle rate, right? If your investments, I don't care what kind of investment you're doing. If you're buying real estate and renting it out, if you're buying cars and flipping them, if you're flipping houses, if you're buying stocks and bonds, if you're investing in stocks, whatever your investment is, if it's not beating 10% every year, you're getting poorer. You're not getting wealthier. You're getting poorer, right? And not to mention, you're not only getting poorer, but you're wasting all of your time and effort on something that's not even worth your time and effort because it's not putting you into a better position. It's putting you into a worse position. Now you have less equity in your holdings and you don't have that time that you spent trying to boost that thing, trying to make money, trying to rent chase, right? So that's why we just keep it simple here. We buy the Bitcoin, we take custody of the Bitcoin, and we live our lives, and we provide value to society via our skills, via our just being in existence, right? We try to provide value in a way that value gets returned to us in form of some economic energy. We take that energy that we don't need immediately for our expenses, for our rent, for our payments, whatever, and we stack it. We save it because we know that for every Satoshi we save, every fraction of a Bitcoin we save, it's again, it's going to pay us back in the future. Just 2 years. We haven't even done a full Bitcoin cycle, which is 4 years. And we're already at 100%. Well, pretty much 100% gains on our savings. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Can you go back at your 401k and look back at your 401k, look back at your retirement plan or your IRAs, at any like investment opportunity you've had, and can you go and say, yeah, I made 100% profits over the past two years on this investment? Could you? If you could, that's great. That's really good. You probably picked specific stocks and you knew how to get in and out. But for the amount of effort it took me, I don't think this is like, it's easy mode. Easy mode, okay? All right. That's a lot. That was a lot of what segment were we on? Jeez. Oh yeah. We were on the stack recap. All right. I have one more thing to share with you guys on a stack recap before we move on to buying the Bitcoin for today. Yesterday, I finally sold one of my kayaks. I listed it last week. I've been putting it off. I finally took pictures and listed it. It's a kayak Kraken 13.5. I bought it for, I think it was like $1,300 back in the day. And I had awesome times on it. I fished off of it. I spearfished off of it. I dove off of it. Really fun times on this kayak. Now it's gone. I traded it for $500. Sorry, for $700 worth of dirty fiat. And I went right over to the bank as soon as I sold it, and I did the deposit. And I thought to myself, okay, right now Bitcoin is at $104,000. Should I buy right now, or should I just wait for the dip? And I told myself, just buy it, dude. Just smash buy it. So I did. I smash bought $700 worth of Bitcoin at $104,216. And look, so far we're up 3 cents. So far we're up 3 cents, but who knows, right? Eventually that $700 will turn into a lot more, just like the $250 that we sold this KitchenAid for turned into $443, right? Because just like your salary goes up for the longer you hold Bitcoin, the things you sell out of your house that you don't need anymore, that are just taking up space, go up in value as long as you hold the Bitcoin that represents that sale, right? I sold that kayak for basically 0.00665749 Bitcoin for 665,749 Satoshis. And I'm keeping the Satoshis for as long as I can, because I know that in the future, right? Let's say Bitcoin gets to 200 grand, then it'll be as if I sold that kayak for $1,400, right? The original price I bought it at. But I got all the use out of it I needed. I had it for like, I don't know, 10 years almost, right? That's pretty good. It's pretty good, right? I definitely got my money back from the KitchenAid that I sold. Even though I sold it at a loss at $250, I got my money back. And now if I need a KitchenAid ever again, I could buy a brand new one and still be up, right? So that's the power of Bitcoin. And you got to find ways to make it, find ways and little games like this to help you get motivated and stay motivated to stack and to save. Because now we go back to the beginning of this episode where we're talking about the people on TikTok doing all these crazy things, not crazy, doing everything they can. It's not crazy, doing everything they can to save $1 or $2 on their expenses to get by, right? Well, you do the same effort, but instead of just taking that cash and spending it or blowing it on something else, you go through the effort of figuring out ways to save, but then you actually save that into Bitcoin. Man, you'll be way better off in no time compared to just figuring out ways to limit yourself on your expenditures, right? If you could limit yourself on your expenditures and take the value that you saved, store it into Bitcoin, then next thing you know, your expenditures won't be as high as they used to be, right? We'll give you a case in point right here. Bitcoin per good, right? Look at now. Jeez, my burrito is almost 75% off, right? October 3rd, 2023. We started tracking my burrito, how much it cost me in dollars. It cost me $13.70. At that time, at the price of Bitcoin at that time, it was costing me 49,603 Satoshis to buy that burrito. Today, it costs me 13,000 Satoshis to buy that burrito. So that burrito still cost me $13.70 in terms of dollars, but in terms of Bitcoin, it's 73% off. So if I would have just saved the cost of buying one burrito every time I bought a burrito, I would be able to buy an additional, how many is that? 5 or was it? Yeah, about 4 burritos for the price of one burrito in 2023. in October 2023, right? And then you look at the price of milk. The price of milk for me back then, October 2023, was $6.99, 25,509 satoshis. Okay. Today, the price of that same gallon of milk is still $6.99, but now it's only costing me 6,645 satoshis for that same gallon of milk, right? Can you imagine your groceries down 75%, right? No supermarket membership, no coupon is going to give you that kind of a discount. 75% off your groceries. What would you do for 75% of your groceries? What would you do if I told you, hey, do this? Yeah. What would you do if I told you, hey, do this, and in 2 years, about 2 years, your groceries will be 75% off, or 70% off, or 50% off. We'll just do 50% off, right? We'll say 25% off. If you do this one thing in 1 year, your groceries might be off. It might be 25% off, right? Would you do it? Would you at least consider doing it? See, you got to do it. You got to look into Bitcoin, right? But if I told you, hey, in a little over 2 years, if you do this thing that I'm about to tell you, take whatever you're paying for rent now and stack the same amount into the savings account. It's a special savings account, and this savings account will make it so that in 2 years, the one savings deposit you put in that was equivalent to 1 month of rent or 1 month of mortgage, in 2 years is going to cover 6 months of your mortgage or 6 months of your rent. See? January 1st, 2023, if you would have saved $2,500 into Bitcoin, you would have had yourself 15.2 million Satoshis. Today, if you wanted to come up with $2,500, you would just have to sell 2.3 million Satoshis. So now your 15 million Satoshis is going to cover you for at least, what is that? Is that more than 6 months now? Yeah, right? What's my math? Yeah, it's about seven and a half, about 7 months. Let's say 7 months. That one extra payment you did to yourself and just saved into the special account is going to cover 6 months of your rent. If you do that for 2 months in a row, it's going to cover a year's worth of your rent. Dude, how much easier would your life be, right? And how long would you have to do that for? How many continuous months in a row would you have to do that for in order for those savings to grow and cover the cost of your rent for the rest of your life? It's not as long as you think. It's not as long as you think. Like, it's hard to understand the power of Bitcoin unless you start doing sheets like this and you kind of look at this kind of stuff. That's why I'm putting it out there, guys. I'm putting it out there because maybe you understand Bitcoin and you try to explain it to your friends and family, but they don't get it because they don't see like the practical use of it. This is a practical use of it. Send them a copy. Send them a link to this video today. Send them a link to this video. And these numbers, they're not made up. They're all done here on the show. We've done this show since, like I said, May 22nd, 2023. Stacking Bitcoin since then, right? Through different methods. Of course, dollar cost averaging, buying $5 a day, and then $10 a day, and then $20 a day. Doing funny things like reclaimed Bitcoin, selling stuff around my house that's not serving me anymore. Exchanging that for Bitcoin and holding that Bitcoin, right? I sold this sewing machine for $80, and now the Bitcoin that the $80 bought me at the time when Bitcoin was $54,000, that Bitcoin is now worth $155, right? It's not a lot, but you can start to see the pattern, right? If you start doing this with the stuff in your house that you don't need, that you don't want, that's just taking up space, right? Living in your house for free, no rent. That's stranded energy. That's stranded Bitcoin that you could be using, that you'd be holding in your wallet, taking up zero space, but making you wealthier just by holding it. Right? I mean, stupid things like this. I sold 4 pairs of Muay Thai shorts back when I was doing Muay Thai fighting. Not fighting, just training. And I never even wore those shorts because I bought them right before the pandemic hit, and then I just never got to wear them. And they've just been sitting in my house for like 4 years, right? 4 years, 5 years, however long the pandemic's been. And I finally sold those shorts for $120 when Bitcoin was at $52. And now those shorts are doubled, right? And they're worth $240 now, which is a lot more than I paid for them brand new, right? But it cements the idea that, like, okay, shoot, that happened with those shorts. Well, what else can I sell? And now you're onto something. Okay. Now you got the bug and you realize, hey man, I should be doing everything I can to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. Because you can see how it works. Okay. Same thing with what is this other one? Oh, this is the Moto project. Anyway, so now that we can account for all the stuff we've done here on the show to earn additional Bitcoin, and since I just sold my kayak yesterday, we got a nice little bump to 0.3702543 Bitcoin, almost $40,000. It's crazy. Almost $40,000. It's wild. So anyway, that's enough about that. That is a Stack Recap Extended Edition. If you have any questions, do put it in the chat. And that's how much money I've made in the past 2 years of holding Bitcoin. Just dollar cost averaging. Just holding it. No additional labor, no additional work than just buying the Bitcoin and holding the Bitcoin. Right? All right. So far in 2025, the price of Bitcoin is $105,000. Our average buy price for this year is $92,000. So since the price of Bitcoin is above our average buy price, today we're going to buy $20 worth of Bitcoin for our DCA. And now that we know how much Bitcoin we're going to buy, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to stack some Bitcoin, baby. All right. I'll bring up my phone here, my handy dandy phone, and get the show rocking and get this purchase done. Bring up the good old Strike wallet. Boom. Hit the buy button. Yeah. I'm keying in $20. Buying $20 worth of Bitcoin today on the Stack Bitcoin show. Hit next. Cut the music so that the live studio band can play a drum roll, please. Hit confirm. Buying $20 worth of Bitcoin right now live during the show on the Stack Bitcoin show. There it is. And just like that, we've stacked an additional 18,806 Satoshis to the stack. We go to our spreadsheet here. What's today? Today's Monday, the 19th, 2025. And the price of Bitcoin we deserve today is $105,336.72 Bitcoin. We bought $20 worth. And we got 0.0001886 for our troubles. And just like that, Bitcoin continues. And we keep on keeping on. We keep on keeping on. Let's copy this data to a spreadsheet for the lifespan of the show. And we'll get our new total for our proof of stack, our proof of Bitcoin purchases. Look at that. Dang, we're doing good. Almost all in the green. Boom. All right. Final Bitcoin total for May 19th, 2025 on the Stack Bitcoin show. 0.37221349 Bitcoin on our way to 1 whole Bitcoin. That is our goal here for the show, to document the process, the purchases, the DCAs, the ups and downs, the sideways of getting to 1 whole Bitcoin. We might never get it. We might never hit 1 whole Bitcoin. If Bitcoin just takes off on us and the price gets away from me, we'll never hit 1 Bitcoin. But dang it, it was worth a shot, right? Because even if we never get to 1 Bitcoin and the price gets away from us, we're still doing a lot better than the majority of people in the United States, not to mention the world, as far as having a little stack of savings, or a little stack of available liquidity for an emergency or for whatever reason, right? Like the amount of people in the US that don't even have $1,000 set aside for whatever reason for savings is crazy. It's crazy, right? So that is it. Short and sweet and to the point. That is all I got for you guys today on the Stack Bitcoin Show. My name is Roman. I'm here to help you learn about Bitcoin. If you have any questions, ask in the comments or in the chat. If you're watching the replay, you can leave a comment as well. I'll answer your questions there. I'm trying to help as much as possible, guys. I know that Bitcoin is not as exciting as like altcoins or any other kind of coins, because it just does what it does. It's super, I'm gonna say boring, but it's supposed to be boring. It's always staying the same, gaining you purchasing power. That's the point of it, right? Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Later, guys.